Hi, welcome to the latest episode of the Not Lame Experience, where we talk about and dig out some releases from the archives of the Not Lame website in mail order. There were many thousands of releases that were carried on the site and inside the mail order company, and we're going to bring a few out always with each show to make sure that you are aware of, and if you've forgotten about this band, it might be time to revisit them. The two bands that I've chosen for this show are not as obscure as I usually like to go, but I do want to talk about them because I think their music really is very, very important to the power pop fan. They are Rockfour from Israel and Silver Sun from London, England. Now, these two CDs that you see here, the artwork, if you're fans of the band, you'll go, what? I don't recognize those. Well, there's a reason. They were just special compilations that a friend of mine made up many years ago. One of them is like B-sides and rarities, and then sort of a supreme 26-track best of that he made up and made copies of for me. Now, these two bands, I highly encourage you to dig in and make sure that you actually own pretty much everything. Find everything in their catalogs. Silver Sun released 5 CDs in their time. Their self-titled debut, which I think is still their best release, that one came out, boy, what was that, 1997, I think. And then after that, I'm written this down here, we had the You Are Here compilation in Japan that had 8 songs. There was another one that came out in Japan, too. Neo Wave, Dad's Weird Dream, and Disappear Here. All of them were carried on the Not Lame site at one point in time. And I remember the debut sold really well back in 97, 98, even though it was a really expensive UK import. Oh my God, they were like $28, $29 back then, ridiculously expensive. And the thing about Silver Sun is that they took a kind of really hard rocking metallic sound that was very in your face, very aggressive, but they had this very sheer, pure kind of pop sheen on the outside that dressed everything up, and they had these sugary melodies that were layered, had huge layers and of overdubs, of vocal overdubs, and it was like cotton candy. They just have always had this sweet sound that always worked for a lot of power pop fans. James Brood was the leader, and he's still active. And I'm going to dig up some links and so you can find out what he is up to of late as well. And then another favorite of mine is Rockfour. These are their first 2 records. They had 5 records that came out before they called it the day. And as far as I know, I'm opening up a screen here, so excuse me as I pull this up. The band is broken up. Have not heard anything from them in quite a few years, and that is a shame. My screen is really messing up. I hate, slow computers just suck, and that's the situation I got right now. But anyway, these 2 records by these guys were their first ones, and they arrived at the beginning of the last decade, and they were pretty active on the power pop scene for quite a while. They came to America, did a bunch of tours, and played at international pop overthrow events. They did have a record that was picked up, 2 of them by Rainbow Quartz in 2002 and 2004, and I believe they only did 1 United States tour and then did a lot of piecemeal kind of shows. And these guys, Rockfour, if you have ever seen this band, then you know what I'm going to say. One of the most amazing live bands I have ever seen. I had the pleasure to see them 3 different times live, once in London. And each one of the shows was completely different, but the experience of them live was so intense. All these guys are not only amazing musicians, but so passionate. And their front man was just... He like reached down from the stage and just made you pay attention and made you listen, and you wanted to listen because these guys constructed songs that were like an amalgamation of so many different music styles of the classic rock genre. They took elements of Led Zeppelin and The Who and power pop bands like Badfinger and a punk energy that was right out of 1977 or 78, and they sort of blended them all together, and it just worked. All their records attempt to capture that kind of intensity and do a reasonably good job of it. All of them, I do recommend their debut. Supermarket is probably my favorite, along with this one, One Fantastic Day. But their last one, called Memories of the Never Happened, I think it was a really, really good one, and that one was 2007. I've not heard anything from them since, so I'll do some research and see what I can find for you if there's any kind of activity going on with any of these guys in the bands. But definitely, both bands well worth investigating if you are not familiar with them, and if you are, I'd say make sure you own all their records, because these guys, both Silver Sun and Rockfour, just didn't make any bad records in their catalog, and they're definitely releases that you want to have on your shelves. All right, that will do it for this episode of The Not Lame Experience. Till next time.